YOLO, infidels, that's right. You know what time it is. Days are shorter, nights are colder. You're feeling like life is over. These snakes strike like a cobra. The world's hot, my son got not, evidently. It's elementary, they want us all gone eventually. But they'll never get rid of the conspiracy horsemen on this episode of Hamin's Hardcore Happy Hour. No fake news here, infidel. Only real hits. YOLO. Yo, hey guys, welcome back. Want to say how much we appreciate all the support we've been getting over here at Hamin's Hardcore Happy Hour, hackerhamin.podbean.com, and HackerHamin on iTunes. Loving those 5-star ratings. You guys, I've seen a couple new ones there, and they're all 5 stars. So, in your face, Dave Meltzer, Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega, anybody in Japan, because the conspiracy horsemen are reigning supreme over here because of you guys. So, I want to say thanks for all that support, guys, out there. But yeah, we're back. Fortunately, Big Sal still MIA, but we're going to represent for him. So I got Big Stevie Cool over here, without any censorship, and of course, raining down from the sky. It's my man Greek God Papadon. Stevie, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing great. I really don't think they're going to be calling me for a job after listening to just even 1/8 of an episode of the Conspiracy Horseman. I don't think there's any chance. Like, I maybe go back as a conspiracy theorist. That would be. There's been no such thing in pro wrestling. We were actually the first, if you think about it. First pro wrestling.
I'd say the second, Jesse Ventura.
Well, yeah, but he was far more famous in between being a wrestler and then the conspiracy guy. He became mayor, governor, all that stuff. I'd like to take the same path and have us be on TV and do all that stuff. That would be great.
I would too, man. And, even just a locker room talk where we go and do indie shows together just to get locker room footage of having guys weigh in and open up some wrestlers' minds who are kind of closed off, because there's some high-level players and there's some simpletons who could easily get their hair pulled back.
I just thought of a way to cash in. Instead of doing wrestling seminars, we could do conspiracy seminars.
I'm down.
And bring them, sell tickets to that.
We'll just do a run-in on David Icke and DDT his ass, and he'll probably kick out no sell, but, I'll lay something, shoot on him, and then you can take over from there.
Very nice. He speaks for 12 hours. I don't know if I can talk for that long.
No, not with that many throat surgeries, but we'll tag in and out, man.
Cool.
But Greek God Papadon, how you doing, buddy? Good, live from New York. It's Papadon.
I'm doing very well, my friends. Just sitting back, enjoying all these theories and stories that are going on today, and CNN getting caught with their hands in the cookie jar yet again.
Yeah.
Getting in arguments online over stupidity, but it's okay. I don't hate people for what they believe in. I welcome free thought. That's the whole purpose of our program. So, you love us, you hate us, doesn't matter. You will respect us, because at the end of the day, we're waking everybody up.
Yeah, I'm not down with them, because it's not free thought; it's controlled thought and lies. So we're ready to expose and put some heat on some people today. I got no problem with.
Speaking about heat,
oh boy,
there's a guy that I heard out there. There's a fellow Greek of mine. His name is Demetrius Zordos from Dippin' Donuts. Heard he bought like 4 or 5 of your shirts.
That's
he
right.
Bought any of the Greek God Papadon merchandise on Pro Wrestling Tees. He needs to get his Greek ass out of the donut shop and online and go buy some Greek God Papadon shirts. Vrefile, show me some support, Vre. You going to Greece? Bring a plethora of T-shirts and sell them on a markup price and make some extra euros so you can buy a couple of frappedes down at the Cafenio. You know what I'm saying, Dimitri? Come on, represent.
I'll make sure he gets on that, man, for sure. Yeah, big shout out to the man, DZ, Demetrius Zordos, Dippin' Donuts. Just became a big supporter of our show for Dynasty Pro Wrestling on the 29th, where I'm taking on Spirit Squad. I can't wait to put a beating on Mike Mondo and Ken Doan, and nothing more fun than beating up some cheerleaders. But yeah, shout out to DZ. We went to that Ric Flair spot together that was put on by the Gentleman's Corner Barbershop. That was a good night out there before I ended up going to Toronto and working in front of all the Orthodox Jews. So it was a crazy weekend, and I was glad to be a part of it. And actually, he was better dressed than Flair was. He showed up stunting with all the gold watches and the suits on, and you had 200 wrestling fans in jeans and t-shirt, and man, he stuck out. He was styling, profiling, but that's how he does it. He shows respect, man. So I'm sure he'll support the Greek God Papadon, man. He always talks about you.
I don't know. I think I was looking at Stevie's face. I was doing the cheap plug, and I think he's amazed that I can do cheap plugs in 2 different languages.
No, I was just saying your accent sounded strangely Italian, and I wasn't so sure about your credibility anymore.
Do you know that the Romans, if you trace their history back enough, they're basically Greeks that migrated to Italy. So there's a saying. The saying goes "una faza, una razza," which means one and the same, my friend. Doesn't matter. We're all Mediterranean brothers.
I'm not sure what gets you more heat, if all the conspiracy theory stuff, because you've been on the front line on Facebook with all the stuff you've been putting up, or if all the Greek stuff, which I.
Well, listen. There's 2 types of people in this world. There's Greeks, and there's everyone who wants to be Greek. You know.
You just said we're all from the same thing. You're such a fucking liar. Look at you. You just said we're all from the same thing. Now you're.
Well, yeah. So you're on the side that you're Greek.
Last week I was listening. You talked about how you were trying to be so subversive, and you were going to take over the world. You wanted to join the Masons so you could be in the elite. Did you hear that? You remember that, Ben?
Of course I remember that because
I'm not. I know you remember it. I'm just asking.
I think what he means about you guys being the same is like whose grandmother has the most bristly mustache. Really, at the end of the day.
There we go. It's double up on him now.
Great.
Coming from the guy with the beard.
Yeah, my grandmother had a bad one too. I can't. That's so all across the board. When you got to kiss grandma, it's brutal sometimes. But I'm
going to bring it back around and say we're going to talk about a group of people that don't like guys with beards at all. They like it young.
Yeah, right.
Wow, rough segue.
That's about as hey.
Well, what we're talking about today, guys? We gave you a big shot of the Freemasons Secret Society of what we researched, and really we couldn't even scratch the surface because there's so much out there. And if you got any information or any sites, please send them to us at BWOStevie, at Greek God Papadon, or at bin_Hamin. And we'd love to follow up on these episodes and put you guys over on here as well. But things are hot right now. Like I said, you're feeling like life is over. These snakes strike like a cobra, a little Nas in the opening there. And right now there's a lot of strikes going on and a lot of people trying to do damage in the world. So I figured we'd just do a kind of current events on the day after July 4th, July 5th right here, 2017, because 777 is coming up too. So if you're into numerology, a lot of people think they're going to try and pull some crazy shit on that day, this new world order or false flag attempts in Syria or whatever is going on. But right now there's plenty to talk about. So we're going to cover 3 major stories, and like we usually do, we'll veer off into a couple rabbit holes and put over what we've been watching online. Our chat's been pretty hot. Greek God, I felt bad because I was out doing some family stuff, and I know you were calling for backup on one of your online fronts there. What was going on Facebook? What'd you post that got somebody so hot?
Anonymous News or AO News, whatever the site's called, they post a link from NBC saying that Hillary Clinton, when she was Secretary of State, put the kibosh on an investigation that was looking into pedophilia in Washington.
Oh, yeah.
So I wasn't citing AO News as a credible news source. Well, I'm not saying they're not as well. Who am I? It's an independent news source, which is more credible than most mainstream media nowadays.
Sure.
But I got the flack was, how can I post something like that and it's not a credible news source? And I told people the clip is from NBC. So for all you people who are claiming that AO News isn't a credible source, they were just stating what NBC was already letting the public know about the lovely Hillary Clinton. And then all of a sudden I got reamed and attacked for being a Trump supporter and this and that. And I told people it's not about Trump or Hillary. It doesn't matter what it's about. It's not left. It's not right. It's not liberal. It's not conservative. It's about the children. And anyone who harms children, whether it's mental, physical, sexual abuse, whatever the case may be, deserves to get punished. And honestly, deserve to go to freaking hell and burn in hell because it's not right. Children are very innocent. And at the end of the day, anyone who harms a child needs the most savage punishment that a person can think of, in my opinion. Yeah. So whether or not it's the Speaker of the House 15 years ago or whatever, how many years ago he got busted. He got sentenced to 15 years in federal prison, or 15 months, 15 months.
Dennis Hastert.
Yeah, for being a child, having sex with underage teenage boys. and he was the third man in line to be underneath the president. It was president, vice president, and him, and he's over there messing around with little boys, and he was very close with the Clinton camp. And then you have the Podesta brothers, who are allegedly involved in this whole Pizzagate scandal with James Alefantis of Comet Pizza. And people are saying, well, that's been debunked as fake news. Well, look at the facts. Facts are Alefantis was the boyfriend of a former senator. He's a 40th or 49th or 40th strongest, 49th most powerful man in Washington. How the hell is a pizza owner the most powerful man in Washington, D.C.? How does that even come close or make any sense in the nation's capital? If it was in Iowa and this guy was a pizza owner, then maybe I can understand. But let's face facts here. This is Washington, D.C. This is the capital of the United States. And the 49th most powerful man is a pizza owner? Doesn't make any sense. And the fact that he had on his Instagram pages and in the Comet Pizza, they had pictures of kids tied up and stuff of that nature, and graphic, very just disgusting pictures posted, and he's saying it was a joke or whatever. Who jokes around like that? And which sane person in their right mind jokes around like that? And not to mention there's some supposedly, allegedly, some little kid missing in Portugal or South America somewhere, or Brazil, or whatever the case may be. And the kidnappers, they got a trace of the kidnappers' pictures, and the police tracing pictures look very similar to Podesta, Tony Podesta, and John Podesta as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's too many similarities, too many coincidences, and too many things that if you connect the dots, the evidence speaks for itself. But again, it gets debunked. So you have Hillary also surrounded by them as well, because one, she was John Podesta was Bill Clinton's chief of staff, run the Hillary campaign. Tony Podesta is very close with the Clintons and with the Obama administration. So it's very coincidental that there's a lot of kid touchers surrounding the Clintons. Not saying the Clintons are kid touchers, but they could very well be. And you know what? Anyone could very well be, because let's face it, people are sick nowadays. And unfortunately, that's a society we live in. So throwing that up, people were just coming at me left and right saying, you're just a Trump supporter. And I told them it's not about Trump, because I had nothing to say about Trump. Did I vote for Trump? Yes. Is he doing a good job? No. In my opinion, he could be doing a better job, and he should be focusing on what he ran on, which is nationalism, not globalism, like he's focusing on right now. And the thing with Syria, he basically said he was coming out and no one should bomb Syria. It's going to lead to World War III. What does he do? He does exactly what he was saying Hillary was going to do, and what we shouldn't do. So whatever, whoever's in his ear, whoever's pulling his strings, whoever the puppet masters are making him dance for his dollar. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I got reams for.
Yeah, man, I wish I was there to back you up, because I got.
Oh, the best is Stevie. I said, Stevie, give me some backup. What does he do? He throws up the link to the Mason.
I threw up the link to the podcast.
Sweet. There's your cheap plugs for sure.
That I'm busy for an hour and 56 minutes, so good luck.
Yeah. Let them chew on that. That'll mess their heads up. But anybody who's having a visceral reaction of like, oh, fake news and Trump, when you're presenting them with, they want to bury an independent news organization that's got an embedded NBC piece, they can't double back on themselves, because, there's no more mainstream than that, as much as NBC's covered up and been guilty of. That's just people not wanting to still accept the truth or be awoke to what's really going on. And I got hot this week because I saw that scumbag John Podesta, Skippy, or whatever his behind the scenes name is, on Fox News. And I got to give it to Fox News, which I really want to do. They really put it to him about his Russia connections. And you watch him squirm, and he tries to downplay it, and they shoot out a couple facts of stock that was given to him, and he tries to kayfabe and deny it, like he thinks he buried it, with his brother.
57,000 shares in a Russian company.
So you just watch him go hard and get pissed off, and when he has a visceral reaction like that, you're fucking caught, bro. There's nobody who's watching that going, oh, they're just trying to do that, and he's right, he isn't. And you just feel the evilness coming off of that guy of what he is a little worm, and little skinny, skeleton pedophile creeper, and you just want to snap his neck, and it'd be real easy to do.
Not for nothing, though. I mean, if you ever listen to him talk on these interviews, he sounds like an idiot. He can't publicly speak. Every other word is It's just like listening to a little child trying to sound educated when they don't know any better.
Well, that makes them even more arrogant that he would go on Fox News when everything's supposed. Every time something happens where you think, just shut your mouth, stay quiet. Clinton, somebody from the whoever's in the DNC, or this guy show up, and it's almost like they're purposely sabotaging their own cause, because this does nothing for him to go on Fox News except destroy his supposed party. It's really crazy. Unless you're so arrogant, you think that you're smarter than everybody else, which, like you said, Popping On, he sounds like a friggin' idiot every time. The concession speech that she didn't even show up for, that he showed up for. I mean, how people, just from a public perspective, let's go back to the Simpsons reference, the mob mentality. These people were totally stood up by the person they supported to be president of the United States. She no-showed her own concession speech and left everybody hanging because she was upset that she lost, and they still stick with her after that. This guy has everything. The entire party has nothing but corruption from top to bottom. And I'm not saying the Republicans or any of the other people in this vacuum of politics is any better, but this proves the mindless sheep that follow. The same ones that attacked you on Facebook, they just feel like, well, wait a minute, we're not stupid, but they told us it's this, and you're thinking, oh my God, what's wrong with you? That's pretty much what it is.
It is.
Not to call people names, because some of those people are friends of mine, and I'm not gonna,
Why, you call me names all the time.
Yeah. These stupid infidel morons. Wake yourself up, right? Slap your moron faces.
I'm just trying to be fair for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But aside from people that I know who disagree with me politically or whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you put 10 people in a room, you're gonna get 5 different answers from 10 different people, because let's face it, you can't please everybody all the time. And, to be fair, Trump sounds like an idiot when he talks too. I'm not going to say that Trump's the most intellectual speaker. To be honest with you, I think one of the best speakers of all time presidentially was Obama, because he carried a promo like The Rock. He talked his way into the building. He was like the Dusty Rhodes of his time. He talked people into voting for him. He did it for me. I voted for him first time around. Then I learned my lesson. But point is this, you have all these evidence, all these clues, and all these facts. Okay, not even clues. Excuse me, I take that back. Facts. We have Clinton with his sexual escapades, and then he goes and he hangs out with Jeff. What's his name?
Covered up how many rapes, right?
Well, not even that, but he also hangs out with that kid toucher who has his own island. What's his name?
The Lolita Express. I forget the guy's name.
The Lolita Express. Jeff, was it Chesson? No, not Jeff Sessions. Whatever his name is. Who got busted, with child porn, and from what I understood, he did a few months in the federal prison, but he would show up at a certain time in the
Jeffrey
night.
Epstein. Sorry to interrupt.
Epstein, that's it. Yep. There we go. So, I mean, look, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, at the end of the day, it's a freaking duck. So if she's surrounded by all this stuff, you know what? There's a good chance that it is going on. And I'm not saying that it's only the Democrats, because you know what? I don't consider myself a Republican or a Democrat. I like the person who I feel is the best person for the job, who I believe will get most stuff done. And between Trump and Hillary, did I vote for Trump? Yeah, because he was the lesser of two evils. I knew if Hillary went in the office, it would be the same nonsense, and she would get paid out the wazoo at the expense of the people, of the United States. Now, is that still going on right now to a certain extent? Yes, because we got hoodwinked by Trump. You know what I'm saying? He came in as a nationalist, and now he's focusing more on global situations as opposed to nationalistic issues that should be, taken care of firsthand. But that's just my opinion. So, anyhow, aside from that fact, both the Democrats and Republicans, it's all a work. It doesn't matter. They're all touching little kids behind the scenes, allegedly, and they're all doing shady business, and they're making their pockets fatter at the people's expense, and that's why the middle class is getting slammed. And it's shrinking. The middle class is shrinking over the years, and it's only going to be two people, poor and the elite, and that's what they want, because they can control us, because we're going to be fighting for the crumbs. Just like Vince McMahon has wrestling on lock, and all these wannabe promoters on the indies are fighting for crumbs and want to be the next Vince McMahon. If they realize, if we work together, we can actually be a force to reckon with. But you know what? Ego. Ego is a son of a bitch, and it will get you every time, because what is it? One of the seven deadly sins is vanity.
Vanity too.
Yeah, and greed, and that's exactly what it's come down to. So that's why I was getting slammed. You know, and
I'll
every time.
fight you anywhere, Ego Ethan Page. I'm not afraid of you, Ego.
But point being is this: you throw something out there, and people get upset. Oh my God! Look at this poor kid. Who? Well, not let me say poor kid because I heard a backstory about this kid. This kid throws out this meme from WrestleMania, and it puts a CNN logo on top of Vince McMahon's face that Trump's beating him up, and Trump's beating up CNN, and CNN gets their panties in a bunch, and they threaten a child who's 15 years old allegedly.
Here's the fake news on that. I just saw the scoop, and it's not a 15-year-old. The dude's a 40-year-old. Like, CNN wasted their time to go into Reddit to have it. This guy's in his 40s.
Okay.
His Reddit name is Han Asshole Solo, which popped me. And, you know, they threatened him to do an apology and take it down from where he had, because I guess on his other Reddit threads, he had a lot of racist and other racially charged things. And they were either going to expose him, which would probably ruin his career or whatever he does, you know what I mean? And the anonymity of Reddit, they found out where he is, who he is, and this is what they decide to focus on. They can't take a fucking WrestleMania meme or GIF with Trump beating the shit out of Vince with the CNN logo on Vince's face. Instead of coming back with more satire. Satire is the most powerful weapon in all of media, and they could have come back with something else. With I would have had when he got Stone Cold Stunned, right? That Trump did. I would have put that on Stone Cold's face and come back and drilled him again. But they would rather go so lowbrow and be so butthurt and so scared about everything that's going on that this is what they're doing. CNN is wasting their time going after Redditor trolls because they're afraid of Zucker, of what it's really doing to his organization, instead of just stepping up their game and taking the high road. And whether we go back with this or what we're talking about with Podesta, I can't believe these people who've made it this far, who are far more wealthy than we are and far more bigger power players, maybe not in wrestling, but in life, that they can't apply wrestling rules of when you got heat, what do? You don't fucking stand up in the locker room and shout louder. You stay small. You let it pass. You show that you're a team player and you're a company guy. And Podesta kind of did that, because after that shit came out, really October 12th was when the first Pizzagate stuff dropped. You didn't see or hear him until Hillary, didn't show up for that. People were so in shock they weren't worried about Pizzagate shit. And then he went completely underground, didn't leave until Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon and also owns Washington Post now, gave him a column back in March, like, okay, it's all right to come out of your hole. Enough time has passed. And I'm saying, fuck that. It's like whack-a-mole with these son of a bitches. You got to put spotlight on them. You got to put heat on them. And that's why I really love that Fox News piece where he thinks he's got the balls to be back in the public eye and not get slammed. Dude, I know you guys don't call for violence and all that kind of stuff, but if there's targets and there's a list, if the guy thinks he's got the balls to walk down the street in New York, Manhattan, and knock up the yoke somebody, then he absolutely needs to get his, as far as I'm concerned.
They extended that. I sent it to you guys through Facebook, the meme with the CNN from WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Now it has like the Karate Kid with the CNN logo getting the crane kick, and it's a minute long now. They actually opened up the floodgates even more.
Absolutely. You're gonna fucking poke the trolls and be like, trolls, we're gonna get you. Do you even know what the internet is about?
I don't think they do. I think in general, as stupid as Trump is and as crazy as he is, he's actually more connected with what's going on via the internet and social media than the Democratic Party and then the Republicans. I'm just saying he knows how to work people. That's how he got in there. These people they never knew how to work people, but people were dumb. Now people are so cynical and so spiteful. Yeah. They have to change their game, and they haven't.
Well, like I've said before plenty of times, when it comes to Hillary with the emails, it's like your grandma trying to learn how to use the computer. Mikey, the printer's broke. Come over and fix it for me, right? And all you got to do is hit the power button and shit like that. And these are the ones we're entrusting state secrets to, national secrets to, and we're surprised when they get hacked. They're emailing something as an attachment when they think it's, whatever ugly dog face Chelsea's, wedding pictures or whatever. And
listen, man,
secret
if you believe that she doesn't know how to work, the freaking internet. Come on. She did. That was just a freaking cop-out excuse to justify deleting 30,000 emails. Guess what? If you and I were being summoned by the FBI and we deleted 30,000 emails, which was evidence, you and I would be sitting underneath the prison right now.
Well, I have diplomatic immunity, so not me.
I know you do, but you go over strong. Ya Allah.
But they were smashing Blackberries with hammers. They were doing the whole nine, dude. So I really, to be honest with you, I don't believe that I believe she is that ignorant. When just like any old broad that I've seen of my parents' age or in that 65 plus range who are just got their first smartphone and they're gonna open themselves up to X amount. I don't care how long she's been in there. Something happens, to women of that age where they have a regression of common sense of whatever they were in their 40s. By the time they hit that age, it's just like, you almost got to treat them like an elementary school.
So she's basically, she might be evil, but her handlers are directing everything that's pretty much going on.
Absolutely. And when to go back to her kayfabe in her own concession speech, you remember, let's go back and how much of the story was her health. And was she wearing these monitors and shit? I wouldn't doubt she had I heard she had a full meltdown backstage, but I wouldn't doubt if she was in some type of manic
they had an ambulance and the stretcher close by at every speech.
I bet they did the whole nine.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's that video up there all over the internet from about a year ago with the body double. You could tell, like, how do you take 20 years off your age in an hour, get a haircut, have completely different makeup, and also get a neck lift in an hour? Well, I think that kind of stuff too. I believe that stuff is implemented here as well in this country in certain ways. We always talk about Saddam's body double. We're going to talk about North Korea in a second. North Korea leaders having body doubles, like Gaddafi. Why? I always wonder, why is the United States above that kind of reproach? Why are we so much better that we're our government, who nobody trusts, by the way, because they tax the hell out of us and they don't even tell us where the tax dollars are going. Yeah. How in the world can they still put these people up on a pedestal and say, well, they wouldn't do something, duplicitous or shady like that? It's amazing.
Oh, I think they absolutely are. I mean, right away, if you look enough alike, the Obama body double, or if you're even someone who's doing parties to do a lookalike spot as them, that you could be on the payroll of where they need somebody just for a photo op or a walking thing while they're doing a misdirection spot like any wrestling thing.
Yeah, but why do people think that it's pure arrogance or cockiness, in my opinion, that you think that our leaders and our government are so far beyond anyone else's government? Like,
I think that goes back to how Papa Don's Facebook gimmick went, is that they want to believe that it's 1952 and everything is, honky-dory, and it's the space race and American pride post-World War II. They still don't want to let go of that, or else it's 1986 with Reagan in power and everything's fine and we're not really bringing crack into the hood. And
did you, by the way, see the bill that was shot down? Literally nobody supported it. The one that said that, I don't know if we shared it or if I just saw it. It was a bill that said that we pledge not to sponsor any terrorist organization in the world, and nobody supported.
13 senators signed off out of 100.
Jesus Christ, I didn't see it.
Ridiculous.
Kind of common sense when you think, if we got this war on terror, that you would not support a terrorist organization. That was very telling, man. That sent chills when I saw that vote, or lack of vote.
That David Icke thing I just sent you from his latest speech, that was a 15-minute video, is exactly that. He rakes the U.S. over the coals as being a front for Israel, and how Palestine's been colonized, and then everything else. We did all the wars we've been in just since the close of World War II, and then he shows it versus Iran. How many wars has Iran started? 0. And everyone from Al Nusra to Al Shabaab to Al Qaeda to ISIS to ISIL to whatever group that is starting, even going to Cold War era with what was going on in Afghanistan, all CIA funded. FARC, you can just keep naming these left and right. That is exactly what we do. Is our country says, let's go in and fund rebels. And then once these governments go back on the rebels that we're funding, oh, it's them bombing their own people. Well, it's not. It's them bombing our intelligence groups. Well, sure, it might not be white guys named Mr. Anderson, but they sure are the ones flying the plane in with the money and the weaponry to do that kind of stuff. And then we see false flag attacks that get stooged off. Uh, where it's the white helmets in Syria, where the guy's laying in the rubble and they're doing a freeze frame shot, and then boom, they crank it up and the guy starts screaming out of nowhere and they pull him out of the rubble. And that's what makes CNN. They aren't expecting the full tape to make it, or just like how CNN just got caught setting the women up to do the protest post, that kind of shit. So it's a beautiful slam as far as I'm concerned to watch this fake news get exposed. But then I'd say put the names of the other, what is it? As you said, 13 people. Who are the other 87 senators who need to be questioned live on camera of why they didn't? That's where independent journalism needs to take it now. Is if they really want to get it, Luke Radowski is one of the few that really does it. He'll walk up on them and be like, "Hey, what's this?" And then you watch them shit their pants out in one question. You know what I mean? And just he should have 87 people and cross one off with an X, hang out in DC or whatever state he needs to, and to get to them, to ask them that kind of stuff and watch them cringe up and not have an answer for it. And then if you're going to run against those people, that's the footage you roll on mainstream TV.
I think just really quickly, I think the 24-hour news cycle, 24/7 cable news and all that stuff, I sort of think my suspicion and my conspiracy theory might be that it was designed that way on purpose, because it moves so quickly. Stories like that get buried by the end of the week. Yeah. Like there's so much going on, where when it was network news, when it was real newspapers reporting, even though there was propaganda, it was still a little more true years and years ago than it is now. People could digest and questions could get asked, but now it moves so quick. Bills are signed at midnight or at 1 a.m. or whatever it is, and it's done through the darkness of night that nobody even knows. I could ask those 10 people popping on, and I bet you 9 of them don't know that actually happened.
Agreed.
That vote, if not 10.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
1 out of 3 right here didn't hear about it, and maybe that's just because I'm that disconnected. I killed my cable and I steal and stream everything through internet. So if it isn't coming through on Drudge Report, I'm checking that and a couple other sites or what's in our news feed or what we're going on, then it might get lost in a quick thing like that with me as well. And they want it that way. Absolutely. So it can get shot through, the news cycle and, oh, we covered it, but it was this quick. And I was watching Project Veritas where they were covering that, where they tried to corner Jeff Zucker. They even give away his condo address, right? And they're standing outside to ask him the question. He runs and does a misdirection spot with a bodyguard and some other dude so he can jump in his SUV and take right off. And that's what they want for ratings. He's talking about climate change, the Paris Accord there. And they covered it for 36 hours, and they wanted to go right back to Russia, which was absolutely nothing, as we know, has been exposed as fake news. They've been on it for a year, have zero proof. And even Podesta was trying to push Russia again in that fucking Fox News interview. I was like, are you kidding me, man? Are you even watching what's going on the internet? Which I don't think they are. It goes back to that, because why would you go on there just to set yourself up to look like a complete tool bag when the rest of the internet knows it's a nothing burger now, as they've said 100 times, and they're just
and you have all that stock, by the way. You just set yourself up into a corner with stock that Papadon talked about in a Russian company.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you're just as guilty, why bring it up?
Right.
Well, she brought it up, Maria, whatever her last name.
But he had to know they knew. I mean,
oh well, yeah. He probably didn't realize they were going to say anything, and then he tried to play it off like that the company's not a Russian company, that the Kremlin only invested into the company, I think, like 5% of the company. But regardless of the fact, if it's 5%, 20%, or 95%, fact of the matter is there's some kind of ties. You only need 1% in order there can be some verbal exchange between the people. Some kind of link between Podesta and the Russians. But you know what? They need a boogeyman, and Russia's been our boogeyman for X amount of years, and now they've been blaming the election on the whole hack and they're blaming the emails, Podesta emails being hacked by Russians that were posted on WikiLeaks, but no one's really realizing the big picture. It's not who hacked the emails; it's what's being said in the emails with code words disguised. And now this is disgusting. But when they're saying pizza and this and hot dogs and sauce and all these food references that the FBI are deeming are code words for pedophilia and for children.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
don't forget. Talk about the amount of the food. Like, what? Hey, it's $60,000 or whatever.
Yeah,
many
they said that
of,
Obama had
5,000
some.
hot dogs for Obama.
Yes, Obama had some kind of party with pizza and hot dogs that cost about gourmet pizza and hot dogs that cost $60,000+ at the White House. When the White House,
A 5-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 12-year-old will be at the party for entertainment in the hot tub.
yeah, and then they said that the White House has its own cooking, and you're not allowed to cook its own chef staff, its own staff of chefs, and you're not allowed to bring food into the White House. That's the major rule. When they do parties, they cater their own foods. They don't get outside catering. It's not like they call, Moe's or
Yeah, that's an easy way to kill everybody at the party, right? If you really pull some shit.
So regardless of the fact, they just circumstantial facts that lead to a conclusion that some people don't want to realize. Other people are focusing on those facts, and right away, we're the conspiracy nuts. Now, look, at the end of the day, I said it before, I will say it again. It don't matter which side of the fence you're on, left, right, Republican, Democrat. If kids are being harmed, justice needs to be served, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? That's all it comes down to. And I'm not just talking in Washington. I'm talking about the Roman Catholic Church over in Vatican City with all these priests getting caught touching children and molesting kids, and then not going to jail. They're being protected by the Vatican and then being reassigned in a third world country in a church instead of being brought into the justice system where they can see some real time and basically get their ass handed to them in jail. Because let's face it, no matter what happens, you're a kid toucher in jail. You're gonna get justice served, Oz style. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I want. Now we're talking.
You know what I'm saying? No one likes a kid toucher in jail. So you're gonna get they're gonna make you hold someone's pocket. You're gonna get either the choice of jam or syrup. If you know what I mean. The point I'm trying to make is this: all over the world, disgusting things are happening, and there's so much cover up. It's really ridiculous. More cover up in this world than there is on a little kid's, a young girl's pimply face with cover up makeup. Just trying to make an analogy.
Let's uncover it here. Let's say this scumbag's name. One of the Pope's third highest official in the Catholic Church, Cardinal George Pell, has now been credibly accused of several acts of sexual assault, including one of rape. Australian police have concluded that the evidence they have is sufficient to move forward, even in cases that happened long ago. Yesterday, Pell was allowed to hold his own press conference at the Vatican to tell us that he spoke with the Pope only a few days ago about a campaign of character assassination against him. Yeah, sure. I'm very grateful to the Holy Father for giving So he is going back to Australia, and I hope those Aussies go oi, oi, oi on his ass and really put it to him, because this is one. And then today, and the next story comes out, one of the Pope's top people, their secretary, Vatican police bust down the door in a drug-fueled gay orgy this 2 days ago. And take people down that way, and there was 2 overdoses there. Now, these are supposed to be the highest people in your goddamn organization, and I've said it before on this show, and I'll say it till the end of time. Catholic Church and all this upper level sanctimonious bullshit in almost every religion, I don't even care if it's Islam, was a way for people millennia ago. Oh, Greek God can't take it. 100 years ago, however long ago, to kayfabe their homosexuality so they weren't burned at the stake, and this blatant illicit behavior still going on. If you want to be a gay man down in Greenwich Village or on Halstead in Chicago or in San Francisco, then get the hell out of the church if that's the type of deviant lifestyle you want to lead. But they can't. They're addicted to power. They're addicted to stealing money from people, and all the fame that goes with kissing the ring and all that kind of shit, but they still want to have this sexual deviant homosexual orgy lifestyle. And if that's what you're down with, then be down with it. But you can't have it both ways, where you think you can talk down to people and be the all-knowing Oz, because now they're getting exposed, and I love every single minute of it.
Just reading some stories when we decided we were going to cover this, which there's, my God, there's tons of them. Benedict, there's a lot of smoke and fire around why he left with what went on, and then there's another story saying Pope Francis, the current Pope of the Catholic Church, knew about this in 2014 when he was Pope. So I'm sure he knew before that. I'm just saying, as Pope, he knew in 2014. And this year there was quite a few articles about him lightening the sanctions and the punishment on the most severe offenders, saying he wants this is paraphrasing, not a quote, a more merciful church. But what about the mercy for the kids and the poor and the poverty? And on a side note, Papa Don, you said, I believe you put a thing out there. Where was it? It was in your Facebook Messenger. You told us about the wealth of the Vatican and the Catholic Church, yet there's so much poverty in the world.
Yep. It's a big work. And I agree with Ben when it comes to religion. It is nothing but a work. These people sit high on the throne, and they're praising, one love to the rest of the world. Meanwhile, the Vatican, richest country in the world per capita, billions and billions of dollars in investments in real estate throughout the world. These guys are parading around in jewelry that costs millions of dollars, rubies, diamonds, gold. The Pope has his own chef, his own waiter, his own butler in the Vatican. They never disclose their financials, and they hide all these documents down in their basement, which no one's allowed to.
Giants, they made us kayfabe that.
So, let's face facts here. I mean, we have countries all over the world that need nutrition, they need food, they need vaccinations, and no one cares. But the Pope can have a piece of filet mignon and walk around with a 24-karat staff, with Jesus Christ on it, and that's fine. Meanwhile, if they melted down that staff and used the money from the gold to finance some kind of relief program for children in a third world country, we'd get more bang for our buck, if you know what I'm saying. And not to mention all the discrepancy that's going on, with the children. This is just disgusting. If someone gets caught touching a child, they need to be fucking mutilated, plain and simple. Ben said it best: castration or beheading.
Yep.
Beheading, whatever. Yep. Decapitation.
You got to bring back the guillotine, or you make them eunuchs. That's it. If you really want to just praise God and get rid of your sexual deviancy, instead of saying 50 Hail Marys and thinking then you can go back to wherever it is, Sudan, on some mission, and chances are they're going on that just to grab some kids to do the next bit of dirt that they want to do, man. And I like what you said, Mike, is I don't even like calling you Mike, Big Stevie, is
I answered to both.
Is when it comes to Benedict and what's the new one, Francis, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like that right there is the whole cut somebody's throat in the locker room because you got some dirt on them as well. It goes against their entire papal what they've followed ritualistically of one has to die, they light the chimney, and that goes up. So now there's two guys that are God's right hand man. It was supposed to be the one that God talks to specifically, right? So they even broke their own rules when it comes to that kind of shit. And if that doesn't lead you down a path of what's really going on, what dirt do they have here, and then they call for, let's be merciful. Let's let this slide, you guys. Here's my call to action for anybody who's a 20, 30, 40-year-old something listening, as they call us Xennials now, or Generation X and Millennials. You got old Catholics in your family who still go and do, get down and drink the wine and take the bread of the body of Christ or whatever, the bread tablet, and do their little aerobics, get up, get down on their knees and whatnot. I want you to challenge those grandparents. I don't care if it causes a rift at home or whatnot. They need to own up for the 50, 60 years that they've been brainwashed, putting these people over and putting them in power and acting like they're superheroes, to really show what they are. And, I'm not saying mess with somebody who's at the end of their life and has to, think about it all over again. But if somebody's going through these rituals and they're putting that money in that plate, guess where that kick up is going? It's a straight up Tony Soprano mafia style, except I don't think Tony Soprano would be touching no kids. He'd be the one breaking somebody's arm if he found out about it.
Yeah, I got a quick fact here from Religion News. This is from last year. Religion is big bucks, worth $1.2 trillion annually to the American economy. So it could go a lot further than just the church. It could go into government, because this is a big money operation. But by the way, your church needs another roof popping on soon. Be collecting this Sunday.
They need a roof for the roof.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. They always need money. Meanwhile, they don't pay taxes. We got to pay taxes. They don't pay taxes. Come on. It's ridiculous. Listen, your boy Jacob Israel did a good video the other day, and actually the past 2 videos he did, he said it best, man. Your body is your temple. Your body is your church. Where you in your mind you believe in God and you follow God's way. You know what? That's your body. You don't need to go to a building that is built by man's hands and being told that that's where God lives. No, God lives within each and every one of us. You may call him Allah, you may call him, whatever, whatever the case may be. But the person or the entity or the being that you believe in gave us the spirit of life and free will. That lives within us if you believe in such a thing. And if you don't, that's fine too. But point being is this: you don't need to be told that if you commit a sin, you must repent. You should know not to commit the sin. And if you do fall from grace and commit a sin, well then guess what? Nobody's perfect. Make good on it. Do something nice. Try to repent. Saying 50 Hail Marys for touching a little child is not going to take it away. Plain and simple. You touch a child, whether you're a priest, whether you're a politician, or whether you're just an average Joe piece of shit scumbag, you deserve to get punished. You deserve the death penalty. Plain and simple. That's all. That's it. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much power you have. Children should not be the victims of this. This is just wrong. Just absolutely. And I'm a parent. And God forbid, knock on wood, I swear to God forbid anyone ever touch my kids. I would kill them. There'd be no more conspiracy. There'd be a 3-man team for the conspiracy horsemen.
Especially
I'd be in jail.
Think it's the person in the church talking down like that. That's the person you got to be most suspect of now. I mean, come on, man. Like when I see him, I'm just like, look at you in a gimmick costume. You're no better than any shitty indie worker trying to get your gimmick over, as far as I'm concerned. I feel bad for nuns, because I feel, maybe there was some dykey ones and that they found a little solace in the way they could join a clique that way. But the ones who give up their entire life and celibacy, which further goes to the strangeness of what they're doing and trying to tell people how to live their lives, they're just totally threw it all away to be part of an organization that's a completely bruised and battered joke at this time. And I really want to see them all fall. I want to see more of this come out, more Pizzagate, Pedogate. I want to see these cardinals and priests just eat it. And I would love to see all of this riches and treasures exposed and taken back and done that, melt all these huge crosses down and crucifixes that they got that they wear ordained, like it's something great to be proud of at this point. Because when I look at that stuff now, it just reminds me exactly of who they really are, and I'm glad to see it coming out left and right.
Jacob Israel is probably, if you're somebody that because I still have faith, I still consider myself to be a Christian, but Jacob Israel's videos have really touched on this with a completely different viewpoint. I've been sharing it through Facebook message, but just check it out, because it really talks about what the Bible talks about the 10 plagues, talks about the commandments, stuff like that. Even the latest one was a really interesting one. About the I think it was about the crucifixion that I sent.
It's about the mind too, and like Pop was saying, and if there's 12 apostles and the 12 pairs of chromosomes, they're the synapses, that are parts of the brain around there, and he really does a lot of numerology and breakdowns out of the Bible and relates it to the inner workings of the brain and how things work. That is it that coded message, you can overlay one hemisphere of the brain of the Sistine Chapel, and it aligns perfectly that way, where God's and man's hands are touching. And that does God pretty much just exist in all of us? He made us in his image. The image is what's in our mind and the thoughts that you're conveying. And can you get there through meditation, or are we gods already because of that, because of just being enlightened? And talks about the, Adam, and Eve and the fruit and how it, awakened and whatnot, and even talks about the snake and shows the part of the brain that may be referenced as the snake, where your darker thoughts of your left brain are, more prevalent, where the right brain is the creative side and the loving side and the music side and the joy side, where, not to say people who are analytic and engineer minded are evil, but that's kind of what he's putting forth in that, and what is the balance of that, and which side you need to tap into when it comes to choices. So that Jacob Israel, man, is really great. And I also want to say, you were saying your body's a temple. I popped in the beginning because he said he was getting hate mail for him wearing shirts like a 12-year-old wear, but he was pumped because he lost 65 pounds. So don't let him front on you, Big Jake. Congratulations on getting in shape, man. If that's a shirt you want to wear, you wear it, brother.
Yeah, he's definitely somebody hopefully to have on soon. He apologized for not being able to make it that night, but we'll get him on.
Yeah.
One thing now, since we really do a lot of deconstruction, I'm looking at this story from the Sun about the Roman orgy. Going to touch on that again, unfortunately. It says Vatican police broke up the gay orgy in leading Cardinal's apartment owned by the church's sexual abuse task force. Something raises a red flag there. If they're covering it up all the time, and now the official Vatican police are doing a sting on this, it's just me just thinking out loud, like, what does this cardinal know that now they're setting him up?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm just saying, why are all of a sudden they're doing raids when they've been doing is
there's
protecting
somebody
him?
in the PD who's had enough of this faggotry. They're done with it.
Could be, very well be. It could be all of those and none of those. Point being is, case in point, all right? Everyone, and I'm going to use this from a political point. Everyone wants to do what's right for the party, right? Either it's Democratic, Republican. We got to do what's right for the party. Well, if the party's corrupt and you don't want to stain the party, then you're going to need a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
So Podesta goes on this little thing with Fox News, gets caught with his hands in the cookie jar with his 57,000 shares, made to look like an idiot. Why? You said it before. Why would they do that? Why would they go on TV and make the party look stupid? Well, maybe, just maybe, they need to send someone out so all the focus and the heat can be put on Podesta and off the DNC.
Yep.
Just case in point, not saying there is any.
Yeah, misdirection.
Sure. Misdirection like a mother. Plain and simple. Because that's what this all is. So maybe there's nothing more going on in the Catholic Church than they don't want to be, caught with their pants down, figure of speech, no pun intended. And, we'll just throw this guy as our sacrificial lamb. We'll send the police there, and he'll get busted, and all the eyes will be on him. He's the third most powerful guy here because the head of the mountain, the top of the pyramid, doesn't want to get caught doing anything shady because that would just devastate everything. So that could be one reason. You never really do know.
Oh, I think that's a perfect, look at it all, because there's so many of them that still want to get away with it. Then definitely, if one of them's got heat in the locker room, they're going to cut somebody's throat publicly because somebody has to answer, because there's just too many questions at this time. So,
and no coincidences, no such thing as a coincidence or an accidental thing like Podesta or the Vatican police doing this. I don't believe there's any coincidence with that.
No, I agree completely, and I'm hoping that Podesta and all them, that they really do go down, because you squeeze a rat like that and he's going to roll on the rest of them. He's not going to kayfabe and just take it on the chin for the rest of the party. They're going to cannibalize each other, and I can't wait to see it happen. I really can't. And people want to hate on Trump for, doing his 15-year-old girl Twitter game, but really that's how you're going to reach people directly. Maybe he shouldn't be retweeting memes of of that kind of stuff. But why does he need to put the beating on CNN? CNN's putting a beating on themselves every day that they do that. It's just going to be exposed more and more. I think he'd be smarter to hire people like Project Veritas just to keep war dogging them, and just every turn that they make, double, triple check, and have them right in real time refuting stories and showing the real proof of what's going on, because they've been exposed as ratings whores that they're going to keep pushing a narrative that does not exist. And I think Russia got over, like, we think of Cold War Russia, oh, bread lines and whatever, the 80s Nikolai Volkov version of it was, but they're the exact opposite of it now. They're almost wanting to be the most capitalistic, buying the most excessive shit, TVs. I love one channel on YouTube called Stop a Douchebag, where they go up and put huge stickers on people's cars who are double parked and things like that, like some real American, like, fuck you type stuff. And really, if you want, in my opinion, what got Russia over and in the hearts of America to be like, all right, everybody's cool, is UFC. And Klitschko's and things like that, of being like, hey, sports and fight sports. The show I just did in Toronto, that was the whole thing of like, hey, wrestling crosses all borders, and it doesn't matter if they're from some Orthodox Jews who've never watched TV. They're going to like wrestling, even if there's Palestinian guys in there, and you can go to Mexico, Japan, Canada, US, wherever you want to go. And they heard of Hulk Hogan. They know what's up, brother. And that I think UFC with what's his name, man, the top guy. Oh shit, it's gonna drive
Fedorenko, whatever his
yeah,
name.
yeah, Fedor. So all those guys kind of broke the barriers down of being badasses and us wanting to cheer for them because they put on a great performance. It wasn't Rocky versus Drago anymore. It was just like, hey, everyone's kind of equal, and we got past this in the 90s. And they're all about having big shopping malls and women dressed into the nines and having what they want. Not to say people aren't suffering just like they are in America, but it's not that same image of what it is, of what CNN and Clintons are trying to push and portray. Still, they want it to be like that to get their stuff over, and it's just blowing up in their face. And I'm all about it. And if they were really locked down like that, you wouldn't be having things like Stop a Douchebag on YouTube to show the common everyman doing their thing like that. It'd be locked down KGB style with nobody hitting YouTube at all.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, believe it or not, even though a lot of people vilify Putin, he's done a great job for his country on a national basis. He's taken them out of a certain hole they were in financially many, many years ago and got them up out of that hole. And now, like you said, they're a capitalistic country. They want to buy everything. They want to do this. They want to do that. But, it is what it is. I haven't had the opportunity, but what's his name? One of the directors, the guy who did Platoon, Oliver Stone. He just did a sit down with Putin for Showtime. Oh, look at you playing with your little pussy. Oh, isn't that nice, Stevie? But, Case, is that Odin?
No, this is Mia. She's 20 pounds. Can you tell by my breath being gone for a second? Yeah. She's a little turkey, and she's about to get off.
Have your pet spayed or neutered.
Thank you, Bob Barker. Point being is, for whatever people think he's a bad guy, he did what was right for his people. And I think that's what we need to start doing here. And you know what? I don't agree with Trump going on Twitter like a little teenage girl and tweeting everything. I mean, granted, it keeps him relevant and keeps him on people's minds. But at the same time, it's the president of the goddamn United States, man. Act the role. If you're in the locker room with a bunch of former WWE stars who are on TV that you used to watch, and you're one of the boys in the locker room, and you run up to them and ask them for an autograph in the locker room, or you know what I mean? How stupid that would make you look.
Yeah.
Same exact synopsis here with Trump. He shouldn't be tweeting. You want to be he's an attention seeker, and if he wants to be relevant, then form your own council. Have your council freaking tweet for you, and this way all that he could fall on them as opposed to on that person himself. But I think he likes any reaction. He has that John Cena effect, whether it's 50% of the people love him or 50% of the people hate him. He just wants to be on everyone's mind, on everyone's lips, so people could just keep him on the forefront. And unfortunately, from a marketing perspective, it's genius. You can't knock the guy's hustle, but at the same time, He's the president of the United States. You know what I'm saying? He should be keeping his head high, his chin high, and honestly, he should be keeping his word. He should be worried about jobs. He should be worrying about what's going on with the nation and making America great again, and stop worrying about what's going on overseas. But I understand why it's going on, because
lowest gas prices in 4th of July history in the last 14 years, though. So,
okay. Well, I'm not. Look, great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, but there's all the hydro fracking behind that. You know, there's two sides to all that story, man. But you're absolutely right. He's not. He's definitely working it as a mid carder and not being the champ that he needs to be, for sure.
Here's the latest tweet from him. Well, it's July 5th, 11:23 p.m. So I think he's overseas. I'm not sure. I prefer lifesavers, but you can only get Mentos here. They suck. Euro terrible. Big day tomorrow. Big meetings. Big nap.
Tremendous.
That's 1,004,211 retweets, 75,015 likes. He has no reason to change. He got elected off this.
Yep.
He's still staying in. He's just in the public eye. He doesn't have to pay to campaign.
You also got to have a heel to make your baby face. So who's the baby face who's gonna raise up?
But the problem is this: you want to shut up the haters. You want to unify this country, make this country a better place. I mean, nationalistically, not globally. Globally, we're always going to be the bad guy, okay? Because we're big brother. We're the police. We're the global police when we shouldn't have to be, you know. And no matter where we stick our nose in, you know, it's always going to be, we're always going to be looked down upon, and we're always going to be the stupid, greedy Americans. And that's something we can't change. But little known fact that I saw today that kind of blew my mind: for every dollar we spend on military defense, the second largest superpower in the world, Russia, only spends 10 cents. So that goes to show you what kind of world we're living in, where we're a war-mongering nation. Our biggest export is war. That's the moneymaker right there. It's not steel. It's not, you know, rock and roll and Levi jeans like it used to be. You know, point is, only way out we're going to survive as a nation is if we're in war. If we're not at war, we're in trouble, because our currency, it all comes down to this. If I did an org chart or a PowerPoint presentation, in the middle of the bubble chart will be the Federal Reserve and the scam that they're pulling right now, and the fact that our currency ain't worth a damn thing. It's all a fiat lie, okay? Then it trickles up to what we need to do, and that's the petrodollar, which is another scam. Because if we don't get these countries buying oil only in dollars, then our dollar isn't worth anything, and we can't justify the valuation of our money because we have nothing to back it up as far as gold and silver is concerned. So what do we have to do? We have to go in all these countries, and we have to make sure that they're sticking to the petrodollar. God forbid they accept euros like Saddam wanted to do. We have to go in there and we have to go get Saddam. God forbid they start creating their own currency backed by gold like Gaddafi did, which was the dinar that he was looking to do. Well, we got to go in there and take him out too, because if he starts a crack in the foundation, guess what? The house of lies that we built all these years, it's going to fall. And that's what we're doing. Now, granted, from one retrospect, we got to do that for the greater good of the economy of the United States and the greater economy of the world. So from one retrospect, I can see why this is going down, and I have to agree with it from a certain point of view. But at the same time, we don't need that evil. We don't.
I think we can beat Canada, man. That's the thing. We just don't want to humble ourselves to be like, let's take a step back. We're in a perpetual state of stupid with the pedal to the metal going 70 miles an hour towards it. Right. It just keeps going faster and faster. But I like what you were saying about, perpetual state of war, because right now, today he called for a UN meeting because North Korea launched a missile on Independence Day, July 4th, at Japan to show that we can do it. It went 600 miles in 40 minutes and landed in their ocean in the fishing zone that they do, just to kind of be like, hey, we're coming for you. And then it comes out that could easily strike Alaska as well. So now, whether that's to be armed with a EMP or a nuclear warhead remains to be seen on what technology they have. They say they have EMP already, and that'd be enough, to knock out probably most of the West Coast as far as that goes, and part of Canada as well. So right now they're building up, and Steve even said, that what was the headline you read earlier about
U.S. prepared to go to war. tells North Korea that.
And that's one of the classic oldest presidential tricks that there is. To like, if your if your numbers are slipping, which his aren't. When he got elected, he was at 44%. Now I believe he's at 48% approval. And if he wants to make it to 52%, 51%, that's all he's got to do is touch off some shit on them as well. Because people are going to rally around the flag and send their kids off, the high schoolers and whatnot, and you're going to have the next boogeyman, because it's been dispelled that Russia really didn't have anything to do with it all, and now we need to move on to the next one. And North Korea is so locked down and such a mystery still that it's easy to make them into whatever boogeyman you want to put out there in the mainstream media. So,
well, the mystery with that is that we're talking about ISIS, we're talking about Al Qaeda, we're talking about suicide bombers, we're talking about terrorism. We don't know to what degree. We have an idea, but we don't know what degree that these citizens are brainwashed and what they're capable of being brainwashed and convinced to do against the United States. So then,
sure,
once again, we are already on high alert and have our antennas up when Muslim people are around. What's going to happen when, Asians, which, we're not too great at discerning one from the other. You know what I mean?
It happened in World War II.
Internment camps, it's a very, very slippery slope all around. Like you said, Ben, it's mysterious. So this guy's doing all this stuff, but is what he is and what he's doing to his people and all that stuff, is it all true? Because we've heard all these different stories about different people. I don't believe I don't think he's a philanthropist. I don't think he's a charitable leader or anything like that.
I don't think so.
What's that? I was trying to say the word, but I didn't say it.
Yeah, philanthropist.
I don't
think
so.
Which is a Greek word.
Is it? Well, that's why I couldn't say it. I had to spit it out.
Because philo means friend, anthropo means person. But go on. Just enlightening you, my friend.
No, you're going on. I mean, thanks.
Well, I think
somehow North Korea became Greek. I don't understand. There are a billion Greek people in North Korea.
Listen, also,
you could buy Greeks because they were already broke, so it was easy.
Are you married to a Greek woman?
Sounds some kimchi.
No, I'm not.
You're not? God bless her.
To put up with me, yeah. I just think it's a coincidence, and like Stevie always says, there are no coincidences, that the boogeymen that we're looking at, the people that we're beefing with, are the last three countries in the world that don't have a Rothschild-controlled central bank.
Right.
China, North Korea, Russia. So, I mean, if you can read between the lines, let's face it, that's exactly what's going on. The puppet masters want to get their hands in other cookie jars. Now, I know it sounds very far-fetched, but let's face it, you know what? All the countries in the Middle East that didn't have a central bank controlled by the Rothschilds and the elites and the global bankers, those are the same exact countries that we've all been in the last 15 years, and now they all have a central bank.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's a little different game, too, this time to step it up because, if you're talking any of them from Iraq, Afghanistan, none of them are touching off missiles to land in somebody's water. And if this guy's doing that,
that's scary.
That's stepping up something that is more than, oh, hey, let's make a safety city out of London, and then people are getting run down with a truck by some fanatical zealots, or else they're CIA operatives in some sleeper cell, right? To reinforce, what they want to do that way as a boogeyman. But this guy's been shown with his generals jumping up and down with his big fat face, you know what I mean? And just another spoiled rich kid, rich who had it all handed to him. Third generation superstar, if you will. Didn't have to do shit to get signed, and now he's over.
But we did talk. I don't know which episode, but a few episodes ago, about that people are getting desensitized to the car bombs, to the planes hitting buildings and all that stuff. The next thing to put people in that state of shock and surrender even more freedom would be something like what he's doing right now.
I agree. But I don't know. Well, I'm sure it's highly possible and probable with those other things, whether it's hit and runs or car bombs, those seems like one-off that are good media stories that have everybody looking this way or the other, whether it's Ariana Grande or whatever concert. You just have that fear of, oh shit, what might happen. But that, I don't know. You think CIA can get to him to be working him?
No, I'm
to be
saying
like,
he could be who he is, but just like the theory about 9/11 is, they were doing it, but we were going to let it happen.
oh, a lie hop event instead of a my hop event.
Yeah, just hey, he's our useful idiot.
Yeah.
We can
Yep.
just. Now here's an interesting thing. What's Russia's relationship with North Korea or lack? Where do they fit in?
I think they put the heat on them too. I
So-
don't think they're like how they're back in Syria. They're like, you fucking Asians better stay in line, or else not going to be pretty, because we don't trust because they can't control them. I think that's the big thing.
That's the interesting thing. Then it's kind of
The
like
Sun Tzu
the
enemy
two enemies tagging up on Raw to win the tag titles. U.S. and Russia. You know, we hate each other. I hate you. You hate me. So let's team up tonight and win the tag. Like, it's ridiculous. Now Russia's going to be a big baby face. I mean, it's really going to. It's, you know, they just can't make up their mind.
Sun Tzu Art of War. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And there's plenty of other ones in there strategy-wise to be doing that. And I don't feel that the Russia really is our enemy. It's the fact that we keep poking the Russian bear with the stick. That they're like, how many? You're gonna send Megyn Kelly, this dumb bitch, over here to try and one up our guy who's an ex-KGB agent? Like, are you really? Are you gonna think you're gonna get over on us on camera? Are you kidding me with that? So, you know, that's them being able to make fools of us when you think, oh, our greatest press reporters are going over there and we'll get the real story, when it's easily dispelled by them just saying a truth. He's not trying to cover anything up. So that really endears him more. Now, what he does on the Ukrainian border or lands that he's trying to seize, that tells the tale of who he really is, you know, and the amount of money he's stolen. I guess he's worth $4 billion, I've heard, so of what he's stolen from his people. So not putting Putin over as some great orator or, you know, the leader that he needs to be, but, you know, the guy.
Well, put it this way: he's been in power now almost 20 years, right? Or
yeah.
20 some odd years.
He was out and then he came back in. They wanted him back. It's like they were begging to get him back in there, remember?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he's stealing money from his people and they realize it and they still want him back, then maybe he's not stealing money from his people. You know, maybe that's just another
Or maybe you'll throw your ass in jail like Pussy Riot if you say shit about it.
Well, once again, I mean, you know, the president only makes 440,000, something like that. Yet Clinton and Obama are worth millions. It just doesn't add up. Senators that make 120. What's that?
They got to pay to play.
I'm just saying, you know, senators and congressmen and politicians, they get maybe 120 grand, 180 grand, whatever it is, and they're worth 25, 30, 40 million dollars.
Yeah.
It doesn't add up. You'd have to work all.
Having a $3 million wedding and shit.
Yeah. By the way,
well,
population
you can thank all the lobbyists for that, and the corporations.
They're supposedly out of Washington now. There's a ban.
Oh yeah.
You know,
right.
but that's what I mean. You know, it was good to sign the executive order and show the signature, but it didn't really change anything. Population in North Korea as of 2017, earlier this year, and we don't even know if this is true, 25,406,907. That is a lot of people for a very small country, and a lot of.
But if you take the four major cities of the U.S., New York, L.A., Chicago, and Texas, you know, we take those 4 states, that's just as many people, if not more.
I'm just saying, mobilizing and weaponizing human beings like this guy could potentially make people do could be pretty scary.
Yeah. And, you know, South Korea won't be on the no entry list, and you're not going to tell a North Korean from a South Korean if they get them across the border. You know, like, obviously there'll be the travel ban from North Korea to be vetted and all that kind of stuff. Plus, you can't even really get out, but you cross the mountains and you're in, you know, whatever Green Beret organization he has. He could easily do that. That would be, you know, to forge those documents. I sure wouldn't be too tough for him. So where do you guys see this going? You think there's going to be a preemptive strike and they're going to take him out, or his own people are going to be like, look, fat boy, you're too crazy right now, and they lay him down himself? Or is it going to be boots on the ground in South Korea? I know they've already got the big anti-missile system over there set up.
I don't know. Whichever happens, it's a scary situation. Because let's face it, last time our track record over there isn't very too advantageous to us. When we went to Vietnam, we should have been able to win that war within a matter of days. And we were there how long? Because how many people on the top of the pyramid in this country really made money off the lives of the soldiers in
Yeah.
Vietnam? Another war in South Korea or North Korea, it's only going to escalate to bigger, fatter pockets for those who win contracts with the government and all the boys in the golf ranges rubbing elbows together in the country clubs. While we're over here, sacrificing, not us, unfortunately, but I'm saying, any woman or man in America who is in the armed services and putting their lives at risk for a dream, unfortunately, that may or may not come into fruition for them because of the fact that they're sacrificing their lives for the freedoms of this country, which obviously we thank every day. But at the same time, you know what? At the end of the day, who's really prospering off this war? Not us.
Yeah, and it's never the soldiers. It's guys who leave as soldiers and then go and become Blackwater mercenaries doing the exact same job, going from $750 a week to $10,000 a week to move oil or move lithium or run heroin or whatever it is, out of there. That's really the story that happened. If we learned anything from the whole Iraq war, that's what it is. And I even look back to Denzel Washington, American Gangster. The script is right there. It's it's not like anything new, and it's been out there of how the CIA ran all the drugs from Pablo Escobar into this country in the 80s just to make the prison industrial complex filled with black faces. But yeah, man, I think, those are three of the major stories we wanted to cover was North Korea, this CNN fake news, which I'm hoping you guys are cutting the throats of your cable company, whether it's Spectrum, Comcast, DirecTV, they're all trash. Keep your internet if you really want to find something. There's plenty of better news sources. I'm not telling you go to InfoWars or whatnot. I'm a Drudge Report guy. You can take Alex with a grain of salt. But when it comes to these pedophiles, cut them no quarter. Believe in none of their organizations whatsoever and chop their legs out in any conversation, just like Papadon did online. And don't be afraid to stand up for what you know is right, to back it up with that proof. Anytime somebody tries to subvert and turn it into a Trump issue, that's just them not wanting to face the truth of what's really going on. And they're going to have to face it sooner or later, whether it's kicking and screaming or what have you, because if those people are your friends and they really love you, then they should have enough respect to listen to what you're saying, because you're not just putting it out there to, drop some gasoline in a match and walk away. You're really trying to do something to say, hey, we need to get away from this and move to a new paradigm.
Absolutely. And Alex Jones, You mean Bill Hicks? You mean Bill Hicks?
Yeah. No. I like Bill Hicks is a good comedian. I wish he would come back out on stage. I could use it.
But honestly, you people listen to this podcast. We appreciate you giving us your time and your ears. But also, Ben is making a valid point. Just because they're not on a national platform doesn't necessarily mean the news outsource is fake or not real. I mean, like you said, that guy Luke, whatever his last name is, from We Are Change, he does a great job. And you'd be surprised. Sometimes the most smallest dive bar may have the best food. Or the best, the best bartenders making the drink, as opposed to going to a, big and lavish restaurant that's going to charge you an arm and a leg, and the food is just mediocre. So
or the best donuts at Dippin' Donuts with Demetrius Zordos.
That's right. Dimitri, go buy a shirt.
Stevie, what do you got, buddy?
I would say that, I wish people would take, I think it's style over substance right now. It's all the Fox News alerts and the fancy big screens and all the other stuff. The Drudge Report looks like an old school typed out on an old typewriter type website, but that's what news should be, just information, not the dressing. And unfortunately, people have style over substance. I hope people wake up. I hope even to a degree people just want to research and don't trust what they read or what they see. And that
Stevie, would be... I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, put it like this. It's like back in the day, you had the WWF with their bells and whistles and blue steel cages versus Jim Crockett Promotions and the grime and grittiness of that federation. Or even in the 90s, you were a part of this. You had ECW that had no flair, just great wrestling and against the WWF, and people would look at WWF and say, oh, both in the 80s and the 90s versus Jim Crockett Promotions or ECW, and say, you know what, that's wrestling. Oh, that's that fake stuff. But this stuff right here, as far as the NWA is concerned, or ECW, that's real. They're really hurting each other. They're really killing each other. That's legit. Why? Because you said it. You know, one had the bells and whistles and the big screens and all this and that, and the other one just gave a good product and gave us the truth, and that's what we wanted to see. Same thing in this instance. We don't need 20 million screens behind somebody, you know, giving us the news, reading a script. All we need is the truth. That's it. The truth, and just we'll make our own assumptions. That's what people are. That's why we have free will, and that's why we have a brain. Because
yeah, Stevie, what happened, man? Now you got to come out with belts and American flags and shit on, man. Like, you got all this window dressing.
Yeah, well, you know, post concussion, it has to be style over substance. You know, we have to do chair spots and microphone spots and walk and talk. It's you know, I'm 45. Give me a break, man.
Oh, come on, brother. How many times I got?
Hey, New Day stole it. Look at what they wore on Monday or Tuesday or whatever, you know, whatever day of the week they work on. I don't pay attention. That's part of the other Hamin's Hardcore Happy Hour podcast. Yeah. But I was going to say, aren't we officially branding this show the Conspiracy Horsemen from now on? We have talked about that, right?
Yeah, we got it down, man.
I saw a nice logo the other day.
I liked it.
You guys are down with the logo. I had the little time finally.
I like the little Denver airport horses is really nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna touch them up with some gradients and things like that. So hopefully by this weekend I'll have a final for you guys. Everyone can sign off on it. If you got any symbolism you want to add in there, please feel free, man. But thank you, Greek God, for your great drawing skills, man. It was easy just to kind of trace a little bit, but I want to add a little bit of depth into it. And anything else that you guys want in there, just let me know, man.
I think we go to everything. We throw everything, every logo, everything we can.
No.
You
can't throw everything in one picture.
No. I'm talking about a whole T-shirt page on the podcast page of Pro Wrestling Tees, and we'll find out if Ryan is part of the Illuminati fast and really quick if he is, because they won't see the light of day.
Yeah, he wouldn't do the. I wanted to do the CM Punk and Colt Cabana and shirts that they had. That's just I wanted to put I'm blocked by CM Punk, Big Show, Kevin Owens. He wouldn't do it, man. The most blocked man on Twitter.
Well, you could put it on Threadless.
Yeah, I still need to, man. People will pop for it. So, but yeah, big shout out to you guys, man. I know we want to do a current events episode. I just got a message from my boy Strangler Steve King, and he said he loved the Freemasons episode. So I hope you guys are enjoying that. We didn't want to go too heavy with secret societies and whatnot, but we did talk Vatican, and that's
it's like part 1 of 135 on that subject, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, all the fans out there need to know something. I know you guys are privy to this, but maybe they're not. The Vatican itself is a country within a country, you know, and so is London, and so is Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., London, and the Vatican is a three-headed snake. Vatican controls the religion, London controls the finances, and Washington, D.C. controls the military. Together, all their laws override the countries that they're in. So the Constitution of the Washington, D.C. overrides the U.S. Constitution. Vatican law overrides all Italian law. The London law overrides everything in the UK.
Does Jerusalem and Israel too? Is that one?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, I thought Israel.
It could be. I never heard that. You might be right. I just think it's a weird fact that a lot of people don't know about. You know?
Yeah, it seemed like the Zionists would have their own thing inside of that. That's, a wheel within a wheel, so to speak.
Well, they do have their own thing that they control. It's called America.
Yeah, and so if you're not controlled, then hop on over to Pro Wrestling Tees and support us. Stevie Richards, Greek God Papadon, and Ben Hamin at Stevie Richards, at BWO Stevie, at Greek God Papadon, at Ben_Hamin. Give us the follow. T-shirts for the Conspiracy Horsemen are coming. We appreciate all that support that we got online this week. Some great putovers as well. Go back. Listen to the old episodes, some great ones in there about Mandela Effect, Giants, and we've got some top-notch guests coming for you. I think next week we're going to take a look at V for Vendetta, They Live, and possibly, what was the third one?
We still didn't remember.
Eyes Wide Shut?
Mandela Effect.
Yeah.
Wait. We did an episode on Mandela Effect? I don't remember that.
We did.
Yeah, we'll get back to it. But coming up, CERN, JFK, we'll let you infidels know the truth. So thank you again for tuning in to the Conspiracy Horsemen on this Hamin's Hardcore Happy Hour. YOLO, infidels.